Hi fam, welcome to Driven Life TV. Welcome to another video. Thank you so much for tuning in and for taking time to watch today's video. So today we're going to go through every detail around the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Okay, so the reason why I've taken some time to react to this is because I wanted to have some intricate details that I wanted to communicate with you before I even made a video. So I've been waiting to understand what went on and exactly how did things go wrong at this rally for people to actually, for a person to actually come close to killing Donald Trump. So that's what I wanted to understand. So I've taken my time, I've looked at the things that have transpired, and I believe that I have something that is worth your watch. Please stay up to the end. Today, we're going to look at exactly what the Secret Service got wrong and maybe what they could have done better. Some of the holes in their security detail. Was it deliberate? Was it something that happened by accident? And so we're going to analyze it and then come to a conclusion at the end as well. And then we're going to look at someone who gave a prophecy before the shooting actually happened, and also afterwards how people have been calling him a false prophet, and what clarification he offered to the people after that. So we're going to do that right now. We have a exclusive video analysis produced by the New York Times of the whole day, on how the shooter managed to evade the security, on how, or maybe how the security was so complacent, and so how they let him climb to the roof and how it all happened. So we're going to do that today. Please stay up to the end. There are details here you don't want to miss. So before we do that, please please subscribe to the channel, and please comment on the video. I'd like to hear your thoughts at the end. Now, the first thing we're looking at is the interview that the head of the Secret Service gave, and people are not happy with the Secret Service. Let me just tell you from the beginning, because of how incompetent they displayed themselves to be. And also the interview that this head of security of the Secret Service gave was not even an interview that gave us anything worthy of substance. Most of what she said does not make any practical sense. So I'm going to give you a snippet of that interview right now. Let's look at that together.
Should that roof have been secure, period?
That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, you know, there's a safety factor that would be considered there, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof.
The question was, should that roof have been secured? And the answer was that they didn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof. Here is a sloped roof where people were stationed. Here you can see clearly the roof is sloped. In fact, it is significantly more sloped than the rooftop where the shooter was positioned. For an obvious question that was no doubt part of the pre-interview rehearsal, that was a very poor answer.
Yeah, exactly. So the answer she gave didn't even carry any water, believe me. That was a very poor answer, poor explanation, poor justification for why they failed to actually secure the whole place where the former president was actually doing a speech that day. So that is really, really poor from someone who is supposed to be the head of the security service. And so someone actually went on to say there are actually some shocking details that have emerged regarding this day. And I want you to listen to this person. And also there are some questions that he raises that are very important. Let's look at that right now.
This whole Trump situation just got even more insane. You see, it was initially reported that the local police knew about the threat just minutes before the attack. But now sources say that law enforcement spotted Thomas Crooks on a roof 26 minutes before he opened fire at Trump. Authorities also took pictures of him on 2 separate occasions because they thought he looked suspicious. But it should be noted that on both occasions he didn't have a gun, so he was categorized as suspicious but not a threat. They say that Thomas got down off of the roof and they momentarily lost sight of him. But when he returned, however, he had a rifle. Police were alerted by the public, and one officer even tried to climb onto the roof, but as soon as he peered his head over, Thomas turned around, pointed the gun at him, and he jumped down. We're also now finding out that there was even a local police counter-sniper team stationed inside the building where Thomas was on the roof. He was literally climbing on top of them. And although snipers on the other roof had a clear view of Thomas, they didn't take the shot until after he opened fire. Why, you may ask? Well, We don't know. No one in the public really does yet. And even if it was something like they weren't able to confirm that he was a reasonable enough danger to take lethal action, it doesn't really explain why they wouldn't have taken far less drastic measures like just taking Trump off stage. Thomas was able to get so close to Trump that he was the same distance the US Army recruits must hit a human-sized silhouette to qualify in basic training. And the questions don't stop there. Despite the FBI in the last 48 hours breaking into Thomas's phone, searching his computer, scouring his search history and bedroom, and interviewing over 100 people, including his friends and family, they still haven't found any evidence to suggest a concrete motive. The information they do have is either contradictory or just plain confusing. He was a registered Republican but donated to the Democrats. People who knew him say he was relentlessly bullied. He passed a background check at his work and raised no concerns. And people at school described him as a little bit of a loner, but nothing out of the ordinary. He was always nice and he was well liked by his teachers. And on top of that, the FBI haven't found any indication of him researching how to make homemade explosives. So it's currently unclear as to how Thomas assembled the explosive devices found in his car. A massive investigation is currently underway into so many of these questions. So of course, when this starts to make any sense, I'll keep you guys updated. This whole Trump situation.
So this is what we're saying. We're saying that there's so many things that are leaving more questions than answers. People don't understand how this young boy actually got his hands on this sophisticated material. Okay, how did he get his hands on such explosives? How did he escape the security detail? How did he know where to go and how to escape the security perimeter, and where the weak points were when the Secret Service was in the area? How did he know how to do that? So many people have questions. And I'm telling you, sometimes when you look at this situation, some of us may be like, I don't care about Trump, so it doesn't really matter. Believe me, this would have been mayhem if this actually was successful for this young boy. I'm telling you the truth right now. It would have been mayhem. And sometimes us in Africa, we're like, it doesn't concern us, does it? But believe me, everything that happens to America just comes as a landslide to us. Okay, it affects us one way or the other. And this was something that was going to produce mayhem, nothing less. I'm telling you the truth right now. So for us to actually look at this and really gain an appreciation of how close it was to being a tragic day, someone actually came up with a video that slowed down the whole thing, the whole event of the shooting, and they tried to show just how close the bullet was to hitting Trump in the head. Let's actually look at that right now so that you can gain an appreciation of how close it was. Look at this.
Take a look what happened. Take a look.
This is how close it was. Just at the right moment, he turned his head and the bullet missed him. I'm telling you, people, you can't really explain this. And actually, I believe that actually Trump came up with the best summary because he spoke at the RNC recently and gave a speech. And actually, we noticed something. Trump was not as bubbly as he usually is. He was more subdued this time. And he gave all the credit to God, and rightly so. Let's listen to what he said at his rally recently, actually at the Republican National Convention. This is what he said.
I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here.
Look at the people's response, man.
Thank you. But I'm not. And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God.
That is a guy who actually understands just how close he was to death. And I'm telling you that him giving credit to God for him surviving the assassination attempt is really something that warms my heart, because many people have labeled Donald Trump so many names, but one thing you can't fault is that he's not ashamed to mention Jesus and God on the platform of being a president. So it's really amazing to see. Actually, I have some more clips, I believe, of him actually speaking as well. Let me see if I can access those, so that you can just see this one. There's another one.
I had God on my side. So many people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened, please. And therefore, I will tell you exactly what happened. And you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell. I started to, like this, turn to my right and was ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm very lucky I didn't do, when I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard on my right ear. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. And moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place. I immediately knew it was very serious, that we were under attack, and in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did. They rushed to the stage. These are great people at great risk, I will tell you, and pounced on top of me so that I would be protected. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe because I had God on my side.
So when you see him talk like this, you can see that the moment that he just went through was really fresh in his mind. And one thing that stood out to him was that God was on his side. Oh my goodness, Mr. Trump, you are really, really protected that day. Otherwise, we'll be talking of something different altogether. Now, there's actually a sniper who managed to take out the young boy who was actually shooting at Trump. Now, the one thing that you have to understand is we'll look at the video analysis from the New York Times towards the end of this video. But before we do that, I want you to understand something. There was so much time between the police and the security service being alerted of the presence of this threat, this young man, up to the time when this sniper actually took the shot and killed him. There was a lot of time there. During that whole time, these people actually had eyes on the boy on top of the roof. The sniper kept on asking, should I take the shot or not? And then his superiors were telling him that you should not take the shot, just hold. Even when the bullets started to fly, they were saying, don't take the shot. Okay? And then he just said, come on, I can't be listening to this. The president is actually in danger. So he took the shot, going against his superior's directive. Killed the young man, but he has been fired because he disobeyed orders. Now, what I want you to understand is there have been people who have made a comparison just to even hail him as a hero. So let's look at that comparison right now. I hope I have it close. Let's look at that right now. His name is Jonathan Willis.
Secret Service agent who took out the person who was attempting to assassinate Donald Trump has now lost his job. A lot of people have heavily scrutinized the fact that he basically had the shooter completely lined up in his line of sight but didn't take the shot. This information may or may not be true, but if it is, the person in this photo is known as Jonathan Willis. Jonathan Willis is a Secret Service agent who was given direct orders to not take the shot when he had him in his line of sight for over 3 minutes. That's right, he had him in his line of sight for over 3 minutes, but the head of Secret Service told him not to take the shot. If this is actually true, it would actually make a lot of sense because you can clearly see in several different videos that the Secret Service agent was basically just looking down his line of sight for a while in the same direction. Keep in mind that the agent ended up disregarding the orders and took the shot out against the person who was trying to assassinate the previous president. It could be several days before we get any more information on this, but make sure you're following and I'll update you with everything because I'm sure we are all asking the same question. Should this Secret Service agent be held responsible or no?
So you actually see just how complicated this matter is. This guy has been fired just because he thought it wise to say, we can't just be watching while this guy is taking shots. I'm going to take mine too, even though my superiors are telling me not to actually to do it. So this is really complicated. He's lost his job as a result, but anyways, man, it's really complicated. Now, there's actually a person who gave a prophecy regarding the assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life. Okay, so this person really broke the internet as soon as the assassination attempt happened. Okay, he broke the internet. People were talking about him, and I want you to listen to the prophecy that he gave, and then also why people began criticizing him, and then how he responded as well. So let's look at that right now.
All throughout America, all throughout, and I saw Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame. I'm talking. People say he's saved now, but he becomes really on fire for Jesus, for what I saw coming. And
so this is his prophecy. Maybe this other video will also give you a good picture of what he said afterwards. Let's listen to that.
To break free come toward the fall. And then I saw him winning the election through the Patriots coming out and voting. And then there will be a great economy crash. Yeah. I saw they had a great economy plan, a crash. Yeah. Worse than the Great Depression. And the Lord warned me about this. It would be a great dark time. But I saw paddles coming upon America's soil like a shocking of the soil. And I saw Donald Trump praying in the office of the Oval Office, and he was weeping before the Lord with his hands on his head like this, but he was weeping. And there was ministers and people. I don't know if they were senators or Congress people or whatever. I just saw them.
So this is what you see. This guy gives a prophecy a year or so back, and this thing happens this year. He says he saw an assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life. He actually even mentions that the bullet comes close to the ear. In his prophecy, he says it comes close to the ear, that it busts his eardrum, and also blood will come out at the end of the day. Okay, but what we saw in the actual unfolding of the events on that rally was that the bullet actually hit his ear. So when so many people began now to criticize, to say he didn't say it hit the ear. He said it just passed close to the ear. And then he says that it busted his eardrum, but when Trump went to the hospital, nothing happened to his eardrum. So people are saying this person is a false prophet because of that. But for me, I'm actually looking at it and I'm like, my goodness, that was a pretty close prophecy. Okay, to actually speak like that when events haven't even happened. There has to be some truth to this. Now, he gave some clarity afterwards. That's the video we're going to see now of him trying to explain exactly what happened in the vision that he saw. Let's look at that right now.
Thank you all for your support. And so, I've been praying, and I, last night I was asking the Lord, I said, what about, people keep asking, what about the eardrum? You missed it on the eardrum. You missed it on the eardrum. And it didn't bust, nothing busted about the eardrum. And I'm going to tell you all, this is what I saw. And I want to say this. I've noticed a lot of times whenever I watch other prophetic videos, if they've missed it, they don't come out and address the elephant in the room. They just kind of bypass it. They push it under a rug, and they don't come out and address it and say, "Hey, I missed it" or whatever. They just kind of act like and ignore it and act like it never happened. And I am a very transparent person. I am never here to try to be false about anything. I tell you what I see, and I pray, and that's what I do. And I see visions. The Lord gives me things.
So from the get-go, you actually see he's trying to connect with us by telling us that he's not someone who has the pride to say, I'm always getting it right, I'm never wrong, maybe not even offering explanation when things do not line up with what you said you saw, or maybe the Lord showed you. And so this is actually in contrast to many prophets that we see across our continent, Africa. When they give a prophecy, you can't say anything. If you try to analyze whether it's true or not, they tell you that you're being carnal, you're being sinful, you're being disrespectful. But when you you see someone who is like this, who actually said, I saw something that the Lord showed me, and is open to analysis and criticism where need be, and is offering explanations as to what God actually showed him, that humility is something that we can learn from. But let's continue to listen to what he has to say.
And so this is what the Lord showed me, okay? I saw the bullet go by his ear right here. And whenever I saw it, I saw the radio waves. That's why I was trying to tell you, it was kind of like the Matrix whenever Neo or whatever was going backwards and you could see those bullets shooting like that. And it was like that's why I made that first video and I was trying to show you all that. That's what I was seeing in the spirit. I saw the sound waves whenever I was praying and the Lord I was seeing over into what he wanted me to see. I saw the sound waves coming off of it. And whenever it passed by his ear, I saw blood flow down his face, just like it did, okay? I did not know that it pierced his ear in the vision. I did not see that. I saw it go by and I saw blood flow. So I'm telling y'all, this is where people get in trouble in the prophetic. You add to and you take away from what you're seeing. So here I was. It's immaturity. I'm just being real with y'all. It's immaturity. I need to grow. I added to. I said it was a busted eardrum because I saw blood flowing down his face. So I thought, surely there's no way any sound that's going to go, anything like that, that's going to cause that to pop. Okay, something, so I'm using my intellect with something I'm seeing in the spirit. And whenever.
So you see, he's being very honest and transparent here. You actually see that the reason why he says it busted his eardrum is simply because he saw blood in the vision coming out from his ear. And so in his mind, he says it's only logical for me to conclude that what caused the blood to flow was because inside the eardrum got busted. Because when the eardrum is busted, blood does come out of the ear. So that's what he was saying. He never saw the bullet hit the ear. He just saw the bullet pass by the ear and blood was flowing down his face. And actually he's accurate in saying that the ear was the right ear. The right ear. So this is very good, because sometimes the interpretation of prophecy may not be very accurate, in as much as what we saw he saw was actually accurate. Let's continue a little bit more.
Whenever you're doing that and you're trying to decipher what you're seeing, you're adding to it. And so, shame on me. I saw that. So I see this thing flying by his ear, and I see the blood. So, and then I see him fall to his knees. That's what I saw. And then that's what the Lord showed me, that he would get radically saved on his knees. And then the vision ended there, and he showed me another vision. And then I saw, like I told you all, I saw the judges and all the things like that. I saw that, and then
Now, okay, so this is what he offered as an explanation for the supposed inconsistencies in the prophecy, and also compared to the true events that happened at the rally. Now, what I want you to understand is that the Lord has a way of giving us information, and sometimes our minds can also come in trying to interpret or even to decipher the information in a way that would make sense to us. So in that moment, it's also part of learning in the ministry of being the prophet, being the prophetic, where you learn now to say, okay, when God showed me this, he's actually trying to say this. Where we don't understand, we ask question, and the Holy Spirit can give us clarity. That's why I love in the Bible, all the prophets, when they saw something, they never rushed to conclusion, even if it looked similar to what they saw previously. They would always ask God to say, what does this mean? What are you trying to say? I loved John in the Bible, in the Revelations. He always did that, to say when he sees something, he's asking Jesus, what does this mean? Okay, what do you mean there? What is that? That's what I'm talking about. It's really amazing when you see it. Now, we're going to look at the video analysis as a final thing we're doing in this video. Sorry the video is so long, but I had to make sure I crammed everything in this video so that we could move on to the next thing in the next video. Now, this is a video analysis produced by the New York Times. And they were giving us a summary of the events of that day, how the shooter moved from maybe coming into the security zone that the Secret Service had set up, and then how he evaded the police, how he climbed onto the roof, what happened there. There's a very good video analysis, actually 6 minutes. Please be patient. Look at this. You'll be amazed to see it. Let's look at it together right now.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there.
There were early warnings to police.
He's on the roof! He's right!
A Secret Service sniper team abruptly
Can you see people actually pointing, telling this Secret Service to say, there's someone on the roof. He's got a gun.
changing position.
He's got a gun!
A sudden panic. And then,
Take a look at what happened.
multiple gunshots fired at the former president. A bullet passing right by his head. One person was killed. 2 more were injured. How could such a brazen assault occur at a rally protected by the Secret Service and several other law enforcement agencies? To piece together what happened, second by second, the New York Times reviewed dozens of videos and photos and examined audio from the rally. Our analysis shows how a clear threat emerged minutes before the shooting,
Right here! Right on the roof!
and how law enforcement failed to protect the former president
Take a look at what happened.
and those who came to see him.
Someone is shooting at the Trump rally.
Thousands are attending a weekend rally for Donald Trump at a showground in Butler, Pennsylvania. Behind the stage where Trump will speak, 2 teams of Secret Service snipers are posted on top of sheds. They're facing in opposite directions, covering different areas of the rally. The Secret Service is also protecting the area closest to the stage. For areas further away, state and local law enforcement are responsible for security. And they are using this building as a staging area. Snipers are positioned on the second floor. Videos show several police cars parked outside. An hour before the shooting, the suspect is filmed loitering in this area. A local law enforcement official told the Times that around 20 minutes before Trump began speaking, a police officer took a photo of the man who was acting suspicious. The officer circulates the photo among other officers, but loses track of the suspicious man.
This is a big crowd.
At 6:05 p.m., Trump begins his speech. It will last just 6 minutes. Right now, the sharpshooters behind him appear relaxed and are standing upright. At 6:09 p.m., exactly 2 minutes before Trump is hit, rallygoers start pointing at a man crawling atop this building, next to the staging area.
That's 2 minutes.
It's the building closest to the rally area.
Right there, see him? He's laying down, see him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
Criminals. We have criminals.
He's
We
on
have
the roof! He's right!
we have people
Right here! Right on the roof!
As the crowd yells warnings, the Times identified at least 1 local police officer walking alongside the building. At the same moment this scene plays out, footage captures one of the sniper teams behind Trump turn around and face toward the building. The other sniper team can also be seen looking intently in the same direction.
My guys, take a look at that chart. Take a look at the arrow on the bottom.
As Trump continues his speech, the man continues to crawl across the roof for over a minute. At some point, according to a local official, a police officer is hoisted up to check the roof, but drops when the gunman aims at him.
And look what happened to our country.
Seconds before he opens fire, people at the rally's perimeter see he's holding a weapon and begin to run. One of the snipers drops his binoculars. The other grabs his gun. Within seconds, 3 shots ring out,
Take a look at what happened.
followed by a volley of several more. Video analysis shows the first bullet hitting the bleachers to the right of the stage. Trump is hit. Secret Service agents swarm him. Seconds later, a rifle shot is heard by the building. The gunman is shot.
We can see the guy there.
So where did the bullet come from?
He's on top of the roof. Don't go over there.
Audio analysis of this video by an acoustic expert at Montana State University found that the distance from the camera to the sniper who took the fatal shot was roughly 175 yards. This matches the distance from the camera to the southern sniper team, indicating one of these officers likely killed the suspected gunman. We also know from aerial imagery of the area that a tree blocked the northern sniper team's line of sight to the gunman, but the southern team had a clearer view. Back at the rally, 1 minute after Trump is hit, the Secret Service say the shooter is down.
Shooter's down. Are we good to move?
As they move to take Trump from the stage, he orders them to stop.
Wait.
And mouths
The
the word
iconic moment.
"fight" to his supporters. On the bleachers behind him, 3 people have been struck by bullets. A volunteer firefighter named Corey Comparatore was killed by a shot to the head. 2 other rally-goers were critically injured. A federal investigation has been opened into security failures at the rally, and there are still many unanswered questions about the gunman's motives and movements before the shooting. But our analysis raises another question, one the Secret Service wouldn't comment on. Why the former president was allowed to remain on stage when the threat had emerged minutes before the attempt on his life.
So this is what I'm talking about. There are so many questions people are asking. It's not making sense. Why were there so many security failures at the rally? How could the security service let this happen and play out for so long? These people had this man in sight for 26 minutes. They knew he was an active threat, but they did nothing. Even 3 minutes before the bullets rang out, the Secret Service had eyes on him, but the Secret Service snipers were told to not even open fire on him. You're waiting 1 minute before. They're being denied. Until someone took matters into his own hands and said, no, this is not good. Let's just kill him. Let's take him out. And then he's lost his job as a result. Now, I want to also give a shout out to the father who protected his family, because the man who was a volunteer firefighter who was shot in the head is a man who jumped on top of his family trying to cover them, and then he was shot in his head doing that. That's a man who is a hero. Shout out to you. And may his soul rest in peace. But what I want you to understand, people, is that there are so many questions around this. And it's not just black and white. There is so much that has happened that some people are actually coming to conclude that actually this was an attempt that was staged, not staged. Maybe some people are saying it was actually Trump who staged everything just to make sure he gains traction and all those things. But how could you stage something and tell the shooter to say, just miss my head and just hit my ear? That cannot happen. This is not something Trump actually did or maybe planned. There must be something more sinister going on. This young man couldn't have acted alone. How could you know where the security holes were for the Secret Service? Nobody does that. The Secret Service can even shoot you just because you have killed a fly close to a president. They can kill. These people are so active normally. But on this day, they were ignoring the supporters who were pointing to the roof to say there's a shooter there. All of them were just standing by as if nothing was happening. They left Trump there even when they knew there's a threat in the area. Because these people, once they know there's a threat, the president does not come out, let alone the former president. You don't come up the stage. You are protected. You remain in your armored vehicle or something. You're not coming out because there's a threat. Even if it's not a big one, as long as there's a threat, the president is not coming out. And this is the former president we're talking about, or a president to be as well. So there's something going on, something bigger, okay? And so we cannot ignore that. But anyways, I also thank God for the prophecy this guy gave. But sometimes people don't want to listen to these things because nowadays people are mistrusting prophets a lot. But sometimes we have to understand that there are true prophets out there. I'm not saying every prophecy this guy has given is true. All I'm saying is that on this occasion, he was right. And maybe we could have listened and would have avoided some of these things. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. I would like to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have a good one.